And welcome everybody to the Daily Space Weather. I'm your host Dan, aka smAsho. We're looking at the view from Stereo A's coronagraph. Stereo A, located at Lagrange point 5, trails the Earth by a few months in terms of its orbit, and gives us an idea when we see a coronal mass ejection, which is Earth facing. If you're not familiar with this, Earth is out in this direction, right around this plane. That's about the ecliptic plane right there. And you can see there is some coronal mass ejecta headed sort of in the Earth-facing zone. Let's do a deeper analysis and see how Earth-facing it might be. Here's a view from the LASCO C3. This is located at Lagrange point 1, directly between the Earth and the Sun. It looks like most of the ejecta will miss to the west in this direction. There could be a glancing blow to the magnetosphere because we do see some easterly also, but we don't really see a halo. Normally, if you have a perfectly Earth-facing CME, coronal mass ejection, you see a halo around the coronagraph aperture. Here's a view from the C2 also, a slightly zoomed in view, and it's quite a great view of that coronal mass ejection. You can see the bubble-like formation of the structure as it releases from the corona. It's affected by all sorts of magnetic fields, different magnetic shell layers surrounding the sun. And before we look at more views, let me take a quick moment to check the life of the stream. Yes, and we are looking good. And today's video will be fraught with a bunch of missing data. Survey said. Well, that's good. And we've got some custom Helio viewer movies. First, a colorized magnetogram animation. And we're showing you this portion of the sun here because we see a spot, according to space weather, that's trying to be a sunspot. And no umbre yet. In fact, it's degraded in the last several hours. And we've included the time and date stamps down here so you can see that. That is just today. So, 0 sunspots right now, but some activity nonetheless. Custom Helio viewer movies today include 2 views of the North Pole and 2 views of the South Pole. We do see some minor crown prominences up there in the north. Right there's one. And you can see that little brightening of the north solar polar field region. Here's the 171 angstroms view of the same area. Here's the South Pole, filament there in the southwest. And a great view of that plage, that area of magnetic organization. And a little crown prominence down here as well, right in that area. You'll see it on this run, right there, a small crown prominence. Another indication that the sun is ramping back up into a new solar cycle. Here's the view from in 171 angstroms from the same exact region. And a great view of that plage, again, not a sunspot. And we've got lots more stuff to cover. So let's get on with it. How about some more data? The 10.7 centimeter radial flux is still at 70 solar flux units. There's the approximately 3-year graph, and we're delighted to be over 70 in terms of smoothed monthly values. That's a good thing. And we see a KP of 0, the global measurement of geomagnetism at 0 for the past 24 plus hours, folks. Could be a cosmic ray environment. We did see a ramp up in the past week. And here is the cosmic ray situation at Apatity in Barentsburg. We click the link so you don't have to. And there you can see this uptick over the past week, and it's leveled off. Uptick over the past 30 days at Apatit, and flat at Barentsburg over the past 30. Not as significant of an uptick there at Barentsburg as at Apatit. Next, we'll look at Athens, Greece, going much farther south to a latitude similar to where I am, actually. And there you can see Athens fairly flat on the past 30 days. A slight upward trend at Athens. And Mexico City's next. You can see this similar ramp up over the past week that we saw at Apatit and Barentsburg at Mexico City. So going even farther south. Slight uptick over the past 30 days at the Mexico City neutron monitor. And lastly, we'll look at Oulu, Finland, and DOMC, Antarctica. There's Oulu. Slight uptick at Oulu over the past 30 days. DOMC, Antarctica. Downtick over the past 30 days. Highest levels we've seen there happened just about 30 days ago, actually. So that slight downward trend at DOMC Antarctica. And let's move on to more data. The X-ray flux remains pretty flatlined here. Again, no sunspots, so no surprise in a flatlined X-ray flux. Proton flux flatlined as well. We don't see any coronal mass ejection strikes. And let's go to the real-time solar wind next. Phi angle has recently shifted. BTBZ is pretty uneventful. And we see a very low solar wind speed. Solar wind density only 4.22 protons per cubic centimeter. Solar wind speed 283 kilometers a second. About as low as we ever see a solar wind speed. 283 kilometers a second, making for a weak geospace magnetosphere. Here's 4 hours of your geospace magnetosphere movies. And if you weren't aware this is going on in the magnetosphere, well, tell your friends, tell your foes, science noobs and science pros about our channel. Now we do have a lot of electrons, and you can actually see multiple plasmaspheres in this area here. You see this empty space, that's a plasmasphere, that's a plasmasphere, this is a plasmasphere. To quote Oprah, you're getting a plasmasphere, and you're getting a plasmasphere, and you're getting a plasmasphere. Next, looking at ground magnetic perturbations, we don't expect to see much, at least caused by induction. You're looking at more of a pure magnetism here, not one so much induced by protons striking the magnetosphere. Keep in mind, folks, the Earth is a giant magnet, and what we're measuring here are differences in the B field, the B field being the field that goes through the magnet. And not a lot of perturbations here, not a lot of changes to the B field measured in nanotesla. Power outages have gotten a little bit better. It was looking pretty bad 2 days ago. Louisiana still with over 100,000 out of power, California over 30,000, Utah nearly 70,000, and Oregon 60,000. Some interesting weather stuff to come up after our Smash Lights segment. GOES magnetometer is looking a little spiky here, and I'm expecting us to remain in the North Pole current sheet. Let's take a look at it in terms of its polarity via the Gong 2 data. So here's the top view ecliptic plane field plot, and while we see the south polarity popping through here shown in red, I don't expect that to really end up in the Earth area. I expect us to remain in the North Pole current sheet shown here in green. Here's a line of sight field plot. No major changes to the sun's B field. And next we're going to show you the coronal magnetic field diagram. And we just love this animation. We hope it doesn't make anybody dizzy. I just think it's awesome. Keep in mind this shows closed potential field force lines in pink It shows coronal hole, field force lines in purple. And it shows open potential field force lines in black. And welcome to another Smash Light segment, the segment where we talk about anything. And sometimes we do it as a separate video, and sometimes not. You'll have to stay tuned to figure it out. First of all, let's talk about our mission. You can read about our mission at smashamash.com/forum/mission. That's smashamash.com/forum/mission. You don't have to do a login to read our websites. Anyway, the mission is to assist, study, and report on the ongoing formation of a unified theory of physics, to raise the awareness of the general public of the relationship between space weather and Earth effects. All your weather comes from space, more or less, folks. To connect and consult with media organizations to multiply our reach, to demonstrate cutting-edge proof of concept solutions to problems, such as last winter when we grew tomatoes inside, to publish scientific papers in a multidisciplinary manner, including but not limited to sciences like spectroscopy, chemistry, astrophysics, health, wellness, longevity, cosmology, biology, magnetohydrodynamics, geology, etc. To assist mankind by advancing the study of predictive phenomenon in order to optimize value, reduce risk and liability, and save lives and resources, and adapt, no matter what the adversity is. And lastly, to not be ossified in our beliefs and to treat those who are with love, respect, and inclusion to the scientific discussion. So head over to smashamash.com/forum. There's lots of interesting information there. And please do not encumber your mind on YouTube and other places where people are filling your mind with a bunch of lies and nonsense. It's bad enough that the mainstream media, corporations, and governments are on a constant campaign of propaganda. Please have a discerning eye when you're viewing videos such as YouTube videos, because there's way too much nonsense out there. People are paid 5 figures a month, tens of thousands of dollars a month, to talk out their you-know-whats and tell you straight-up lies. Let's talk about some straight-up truths. Here's the pre-market data. And the Dow is slated to open down once again. So sell-off going on the Dow as well as the S&P. NASDAQ expected to open down as well, as zombie corporations such as Google, Facebook, Apple, and Twitter all get hammered. Why? Because they're zombie corporations, that's why. Let's talk about some other speculative investments, such as cryptocurrency. Now, cryptocurrency is nothing like currency. However, it is a speculative investment, like Dutch tulips. Here is the 1-year chart on Bitcoin. If you're a believer, perhaps that's a buying opportunity. Again, not a fan of crypto, but I do follow it because it is a speculative investment with billions of dollars invested. We're also going to look at Ethereum, the second largest cryptocurrency, and we're using the Coinbase exchange because I have an account there. So there you can see Ethereum sold off similarly, and it's typically proportional to Bitcoin. Next, we're going to look at only 2 other items here, a couple of commodities. Gold. There's the 1-year chart of gold, having reached an all-time high. And it's looking a little bit proportional to cryptocurrency for once. Looking a little bit more normal than the market did when it initially crashed because of the COVID scam. Next, silver. And COVID is a massive scam, by the way. I believe it was intentionally designed to crash the U.S. stock market. Why? Because of politics. And there you can see the silver chart is similarly proportional to gold. That's your 1-year silver chart. And that's all we need to show you today in terms of that stuff. Now, we are streaming live to Twitch. So thanks to our followers over there on Twitch. We greatly appreciate your support. And we haven't even been raging about anything yet. And when I start doing gaming videos, I'll probably start raging about things. But until then, I'll chill out. Twitch.tv/smashamash. And if you enjoy the content on YouTube, please press like and subscribe. Please share the content on your social media. And tell giant YouTube pages that we want to interview them and figure out what it is that they're thinking about. If it's a YouTube channel that tells complete lies and nonsense, don't send them our way. We will berate them and mock them. YouTube.com/smAsho. No, that's okay. We'll wait for you to press like and subscribe and press the notification bell. The video cannot continue until you do so. All right, just kidding, folks. By the way, today is our 1-year anniversary on BitChute. It's bitchute.com/smAsho. If you haven't checked it out there is exclusive content that you will not see on YouTube. Why? Well, because censorship. Let's talk about the COVID. I'm very scared and spooked. Now, I'm not being flippant. That thing is made in China. Have you learned how to pronounce China? It's C-H-I-D-A, China. And if you'd like to buy one of these UV wands because you're very scared and spooked, UV light kills the Rona. Did you know? So, sorry, COVID. You're not qualified to be my enemy, but see how that works? Plus, you can make yourself vanish. See that? Pretty cool, huh? All right. By the way, you can purchase one of those from a link at our page, smashomash.com/affiliate. Let's get back to talking about COVID. Now, do you have a cat? Are you making your cat wear a mask? Are you aware that cats are a little bit more susceptible to contracting and transmitting COVID than dogs are? Do you really care? I certainly don't, because the case mortality rate is probably even lower than my estimate, which I've been saying for months, at 0.04%. Yeah, the base statistical probability of death is lower than 0.04%, and maybe as low as 0.000029% because of comorbidities. Warning, cats might have more COVID than first believed. So if you'd like me to wear a mask, and your cat's not wearing a mask, I've got ideas about what you can do with your mask, where you can put your mask. It's an idiotic, infantile, and pathetic response. This idea that these stupid, idiotic surgical masks, first of all, it says right on the packaging, speaking of stupid idiots, it says right on the packaging that it doesn't protect against viruses, viral transmission. So, what a massive failure. I mean, this mask wearing and lockdown mandate nonsense is pure politics, and congratulations on surviving a global pandemic so far. By the way, next year's not an election year, which is why the COVID will suddenly vanish like this. If you head to smashomash.com/forum, you may see information, a 30-plus page document. Again, smashomash.com/forum. In the free-for-all forum, there's a 31-page document where we updated it until it became statistically irrelevant. And by the way, it is statistically irrelevant. Let's talk about the WHO's failures. Oh, yeah. How about the WHO's failures? Well, was it deliberate? How come they make so many errors? They've blundered in risk assessment. Gee, who could have called it? I think I said on January 23rd on this very forum that it's not particularly dangerous for healthy people. Taiwan demands an apology from the WHO chief, a complete hack. And the WHO is a complete hack organization, much like the US CDC. Complete hacks. Finland says WHO's coronavirus protocol doesn't work. Gee, who would have guessed? Me! That's who! Anyway, check it out, smashomash.com/forum. You can link there from smashomash.org. So if you head to smashomash.org, right there's a link to the forum. We've also got 2 Teespring stores, as well as an affiliate link, and links to all of our social media, as well as our IP phone. If you've got a news tip for us, please feel free to drop us a line at country code +1, area code 610-936-9799. It's the smAsho VoIP line, and we welcome your input. We've added a new item at smashomash.com/affiliate. That's smashomash.com/affiliate. And we don't advertise any items that we don't use here. Today's featured link is Nature's Bounty Fish Oil 1200 milligram. We just started taking this, and actually my 92-year-old grandfather's taking it too. We're doing a test. So over the next couple of weeks, we're going to see if we notice any differences, as there's only one athlete involved in this test, and that would be me. And I've already felt a difference, I think. just in mental clarity. Now, fish oil has massive anti-inflammatory effects. If you haven't tried it, perhaps try it out. We'll keep you posted. In about 2 weeks, we'll let you know if we've noticed any differences. Now, we are all over social media. We're on places like Facebook, Twitter, Gab, Minds. Locals, it's smashomash.locals.com. Dave Rubin's site. And yeah, we're all over social media. Check us out on Twitter. I've only recently started tweeting. I've got 1,677 tweets, though, so check me out over there. I've only got 63 followers right now. And I'm actually kind of liking it. And let's do a small cosmology segment. First of all, the Galore telescope has been doing a fine job. Check out this incredibly high-resolution image of a sunspot. And the Galore telescope has achieved the highest resolution of any European telescope. And there's an article about it today on SciTech Daily. If you want to read about that, those Germans over there in Spain did a fine job calibrating that telescope. It's very difficult because telescopes can contain a whole bunch of different optical parts that need to be polished to a 10 nanometer level of perfection, as well as perfect lenses and all sorts of other issues with error correction. And you can even see a little bit of atmospheric waving here because this is a ground-based telescope. And what else do we have? Well, how about some information about the Large Magellanic Cloud? If you could see its gas, here's a Large Magellanic Cloud. There's a string of gas that would stretch across the entire sky. A giant dust filament made of, I'm not going to say plasma. Okay, I said plasma. Ionized dust and gas. Now, dust and gas only have to be about 20% ionized to be considered plasma in space, and that has to do with the incredibly diffuse nature of the, quote, vacuum and, quote, space. So this article about the Large Magellanic Cloud, somebody's trying to resolve it. And Scott Lucchini. And yeah, it's a very, very long string. And here's a model about what the Large Magellanic Cloud may have been doing in terms of the galaxy. Is it crashing into the Milky Way? Maybe. Anyway, the Large Magellanic Cloud in today's cosmology segment. So today we're going to feature an object from the Large Magellanic Cloud. It's a highly magnetized neutron star named Swift J045106.8-694803, a catchy name. And here are the X-ray transients from that object. It's a fairly consistent X-ray source here, as you can see, from the historic data that going back to 2004, it looks like. There's an article about it on NASA, if you want to read about that. Swift J045106.8-694803, a highly magnetized neutron star in the Large Magellanic Cloud. And this paper's from way back in 2012, on September 10th it was published. Here's a zoom in on that object, and you can see the Large Magellanic Cloud there. And I'm not going to try to remember the name of that object, but there it is on SIMBAD. And you can link to that by going to the Neil Gorell Swift Bat X-ray Observatory. Chances are, if you type in 694803, you'll probably find it. Let's check. And there indeed it is. I typed in 69480, and there you go. A highly magnetized neutron star in the outskirts of the Large Magellanic Cloud. By the way, thanks to our subscribe stars and to our patrons. Our patrons are the true source of funding for the content. Please consider becoming a patron if you haven't already done so, as we've got a lot of things to accomplish in the year 2020, the year of complete clarity. Who knew it would be as clear as it is? It's clear enough to just make you want to reappear and get back to the credit crawl. Again, thanks to our patrons. Thanks to our newest patron, you will appear the 1st of October. So every month we update the patrons list here, the credit crawl, with active patrons. So thanks again. patreon.com/smAsho, and we put different benefits in there. There's 9 different tiers, all the way from $1 to $15 a month. Thanks again, patrons, and here ends another edition of the Smash Lights. Not always included in the daily space weather, but sometimes. And let's get on to some more data about space. Here's the 1-year graph of the relativistic electron flux, and we are remaining in electron storm levels, expected to go across the line very soon here. Although NASA and NOAA are forecasting a slight downtick, we don't see any charging hazards. And there's the forecast, by the way. They're actually predicting a precipitous downtick in electron flux. Let's take a look at the air column. And we see some electron anomalies here. You can see some significant charge ups in terms of high levels of electron flux around the equator at nighttime. So typically, the electron belt lies almost directly beneath the sun, slightly trailing it. And we see significant GPS errors even happening at nighttime around the equator. Again, there's the forecast by NOAA. And they're calling for a precipitous downtick. I don't know where they're getting that. I'll have to disagree. I think this is going to remain, about where that line is. I think this is probably a more accurate forecast. Something like that. We'll see tomorrow. Next, looking at just one slice of the atmosphere, the ionosphere. Here's a full day of ionospheric activity. It's looking pretty normal there. I don't see anything anomalous. What say you? Please leave us a comment if you've got some kind of opinions about the ionosphere. There's the current image. That's 8:45 Universal Time. Looking pretty normal there, making it up to 10 megahertz. And next, let's look at a diagram of the solar system. By the way, we're about to have a close encounter with Mars. So you should be seeing all kinds of people taking images of Mars. Great view of Mars for the past couple of months. There's where things will be in a week as the Earth catches up. It's close encounter time. Should make for some great views of Mars all over the internet. And it looks like a new moon will be in 1 week, my favorite phase. Next, looking at in-the-sky.org. And again, you can see Mars very high in the sky right now. It's 4:47. Do you know where your stars are? And next, let's do an earthquake rundown. Over the past 24, we didn't see anything resembling a 6 magnitude quake. Everything smaller than that. No quakes in Jersey to report on today. And we're just going to go up the list here, starting out with this deep quake at Timor-Leste. It's a 4.7 magnitude at 138 kilometers depth. Next, coming at 16:16 yesterday, about 4:15 Universal Time, a Tajikistan deep quake, and we've seen quite a few in Tajikistan and Afghanistan. That's a 4.4 magnitude at 184 kilometers. Here's a deep quake at Wallis and Futuna, which is near Fiji and Tonga. It's a 5.2 magnitude at 310 kilometers. So quite a few deep quakes here. Here's a Nicaraguan quake, 4.3 magnitude at 165 kilometers. Some quakes in Hawaii showing up on the list. Please leave a comment if you're viewing from an island. And next we'll do volcano rundown here at Volcano Discovery. Today's volcanoes include Semeru, flight level 130, Sangay, flight level 200 as it explodes, Revenador also exploding, flight level 150, and Sabancaya is producing a volcanic ash plume of 25,000 feet as it explodes as well. We implore you to please not attempt to pole vault the caldera. This NPC segment brought to you by me at massive personal expense and risk. Next, looking at the weather.gov map, and we see insane freeze warnings, as well as frost advisories all over the northern plains, central Rockies, and like half of Nevada is slated to freeze. By the way, we've still got over 2 weeks of summer left. About 2 weeks of summer left. Yeah. Now, there are a series of tropical systems in the Atlantic right now. We're not going to get in depth into it. If you want to hear all about it, head to tropicaltidbits.com. He's done a video about it, and he's quite good. Next, looking at windy.com's pressure maps, we're going to let this advance into the GFS forecast to show you where pressure cells are expected to be tomorrow. And we've switched the time scale, by the way. I want to just show you a little tutorial about this, folks. There's 12 my time / 1600 Zulu time. So if you go to this little ellipsis over, these three little bars over here, and you click on this, that's your settings for your windy.com. And set this the way you want, as there's a lot of data. Windy.com has a great mobile app as well. And check out the low pressure over Africa. That's pretty anomalous looking, folks. Look at that. The whole continent is just encased in low pressure. Pretty funky. And let's move on. Lightningmaps.org is where I go when I hear thunder. We've got an incredible amount of thunder over Guatemala. Actually, not that much. Next, looking at water vapor maps for our African and European viewers. Shout out to you dudes. Please leave us a comment if you're viewing from a country other than the US. We greatly appreciate your viewership. Next, looking at water vapor maps for the Far East and Oceania. How about the US Doppler radar map? It's a value-added service, which, again, we provide for you at massive personal expense and risk. So please support the channel via the links below the video or at smAsho.org. Snow is still falling in Colorado. Shout out to Diamond at Oppenheimer Ranch Project. Give me a call. We'll do a video. Here's what's going on in the cloud layer. And you've got a rotating, counterclockwise rotating low pressure system right there over the four corners. Water vapor map. And it looks like there's a bunch of rain headed our way, or at least a bunch of moisture. It's an atmospheric pond about to strike the mid-Atlantic. And let's zoom in on the Four Corners region. Powerfully rotating counterclockwise low pressure system right there. Check it out. That is a classic. The jet stream is shifted, by the way, and the air won't be as cold, as the cold air is shifted more toward the Great Lakes. And here you can see it on nullschool.net. Zoom in on that region there. There's really a jet stream just forming on its own. It's not even really connected to the other jet stream. Let's check out the surface winds real quick. And you can see very stagnant winds there. But at flight level 250, wind speeds up to 109 miles per hour. I'm sure they're probably even higher than that too. We won't spend too much time on it. Here is the Western world's jets. Here are the jets of the East. Look at the extreme meridional jet stream flow. North and south, north and south, north and south. As well as the jet stream going east to west. Abnormal jet stream behavior at its finest. And hey, Smash team, allow me to vanish and thank you for viewing the content. Please tell your friends, foes, etc. Visit our links at smAsho.org, which will direct you to smAsho.com. Perhaps show your support by purchasing a Google is a scam, not a verb shirt. Tell your friends and your foes that if they're using the Google Junkware search engine, oh look, discounts. If they're using the Google Junkware search engine, they're obtaining biased search results. Did you know? Anyway, thanks for flying, American Smashways. Please keep your head and arms inside the Smash plane at all times, as we've got a bonus of features. which will include a 48-hour SDO video of the local yellow dwarf at 193 angstroms, the colorized magnetogram, the latest, and there could be a sunspot forming right there, or perhaps right there. Two different spots that are showing some magnetic organization. Let's check the intensitygram to see if there are any umbrae. I don't think so. I am doubting the umbrae. I don't see any. Do you? Leave us a comment. And finally, here's the 193 angstrom view. You can see some crown prominences at both poles, which is a good sign because we prefer to have a solar cycle, not lack a solar cycle. Anyway, thanks for tuning in. Remember, attempt to understand the physics, stare at the sun, and may that solar wind be at your back. Oh, knows. Oh, knows.